O'Neillia, I always mess that up. Tell me how you say your first name because I can't believe after a couple years I'm still not getting it right.
So it's O'Neillia.
There you go.
So I'll give you an easy way to remember it.
Yeah.
My dad's middle name is O'Neill.
Yep.
He didn't get a firstborn boy.
Okay.
So it's O'Neill. Yeah.
I like that.
Okay. There you go.
I love it. No, I appreciate it. And I don't know why I want to put that extra out. You know how when you get stuck with a word or a name and you just can't, but I appreciate you coming in, by the way.
Oh, I appreciate you, Chris.
Absolutely.
A whole lot.
Let's talk over the next few minutes about, you sent a press release out yesterday. The media has covered it, telling people that the Lakeshore Food Club is closed for the next couple of days. And it's not because of maintenance or because of construction or because of any sort of, thing that has happened other than we have a shortage, right?
We do. The fact of the matter is we ran out of food.
Wow.
I walked through the building. I attended Women Who Care on whatever, I've lost all track of time this week, but I attended Women Who Care, and after that meeting was done, I went over to the food club to grab some stuff out of my office and walk through the store, and we got hit. 2 days of service. We had close to 250 families shop with us.
Wow.
And, some of our families are big families. They're 5, 6, 7, 8 family members in a household. And we, as best as we tried to forecast for our growth, it seems like we are constantly behind the 8 ball. So rather than opening the doors yesterday morning with literally bare, and we've never been in that point, we made the very difficult decision. I was on the phone all morning long. I think we started chatting at about 7:30 in the morning, on the phone all morning long with Morgan, and we made the decision to close to the public, give us time to get our trucks in, our orders in, restock. But this also was a call of we need to reset because we are entering, I hate the phrase new normal, but we have entered into a new normal that we need to respond to.
And when I have multiple questions based on that. First question is, you said 250. Is that what would be the average? What would be the norm?
So I laugh because when your numbers grow so quickly, it's the constant story. You and I have known each other for several years now because I think you and I came to town about the same time. And, back when you and I met, we were averaging 45 to 50 households a day.
Okay.
And, and those were on huge, huge days. Through the pandemic, of course, we had a different model going. We did not have any qualifications. If you came to the food club back then and said, I need food, we just were passing out food in the parking lot.
Yeah.
But back then, of course, there was a ton of excess food in America because things were shut down, rightfully so. When we reopened in fall of 2020, we were, hovering right around 35 to 40 households a day.
Okay.
And then in 2021, everything changed. And we have been on a steady incline of, I remember when we hit 60 households a day. I remember when we hit 70, 80. And now we are well over 100 households every day walking through our doors.
That's incredible. It's shocking, to say the least. And that means, that truly translates into one thing is that the families are struggling out there, and they need the help that the service provides, that the store provides. But on the other hand, and you and I have talked about this before, is that you also need the funding. You need the donations to come in there. Is it more, I guess the challenge that you have, is it not enough funding for the supplies, or is it the supplies are too slow to get to the shelves?
So it's kind of the perfect storm. I do not want to send a message to our donors that we're shutting the lights off and we have no funds to operate. That is the furthest thing from the truth.
Yeah.
This community is so very good to us and has been since the day I walked into this community in March of 2020. But the fact is, our demand has outpaced our capacity. Thankfully, I have an amazing board of directors that is in the trenches with me. They've rolled up their sleeves, and we forecasted wrong. When we were setting a budget last year, we looked at a 25% increase, and I thought that was aggressive. 25% of food costs increase, because I thought for sure that this year food costs would stabilize, because last year, you remember, I think you had me on the air talking about food costs last year. They've never stabilized. Our growth, we thought 25% more families would hear about us, need us, come to us, and those forecasts are just blown out of the water. And so our budget has blown out of the water. Again, I'm so very thankful for my board of directors who are in the trenches with me and trying to figure this out. So to send a message we don't need funds is not true, but I don't want to send a message that we are in trouble financially. What we need is food on our shelves. We live in this beautiful paradise called Ludington and Mason County, and it is difficult to get supplies into this county. We place orders, and, we have one vendor that our order leaves Minnesota, it goes to Ohio, it sits for a few days, then it goes to Grand Rapids, then it finally, if they can get the right truck that can make it into Mason County with a lift gate, it'll get here in about 3 weeks.
Wow.
Yes, and we have several vendors like that. So we're trying to figure out what is our gap, and unfortunately, over the last month and a half, we were short in our forecasting. Did not expect the incredible increase. And you know this about me, you know this about my staff. We will die on the hill of our mission, and our mission is dignified access. And when you walk in our doors and the shelves are empty and you can hear an echo because there is literally nothing in the freezer, that is not who we are. We want folks to walk through the door, feel like this is their place, and have the choice and the fresh, healthy foods that they've come to us for. And we want to make sure we're fully stocked and that nobody leaves thinking, oh my gosh, I don't have enough to get through today.
And over the next few minutes, we'll talk on what solutions there might be in regards to this. But for our listeners, you can watch this segment. We're talking with Onelia from the Lakeshore Food Club, Executive Director. Onelia, we look at, and I don't necessarily want to use the word devil's advocate, but let me just take this curiosity that I have. So we have an uptick in families shopping. Is there, and bear with me on this as I put this question out there, is there a responsibility or an option through the Lakeshore Food Club to help these families stabilize financially, or even connect with organizations to help them? Because obviously you want to be able to help everybody, but you also want to be able to help them also get back on their feet so that they can shop in the normal grocery stores and stuff like that. Is that an okay question to ask? And is there an answer to that?
I'm actually glad you asked the question, because now you're getting to my heart, my board's heart, our staff's heart, is we never want to just be a grocery store. To your point, we want to be a place. It's already happening. It's happening organically right now, where members, because of the relationship we have with our members, we know their stories. We have connected folks to CMH. We've connected folks to True North. We've connected folks to Family Link in the schools. So we have been doing this the whole time. But we actually are having some very serious discussions, and it's all about capacity, right? But one of the things that we want to do, we know we have to do, the community needs this, is to build out a more formal, what I'll call a light touch case management, exactly what you're talking about. So that we can have some formal processes where we are walking alongside, we have staff that walks alongside folks to ensure that they are receiving the benefits. First of all, they're receiving the benefits that they qualify for on the state and federal level. I think that's the first one. I think there's a statistic right now that only 40% of moms who qualify for WIC receive WIC. So we've got this gap of the money is there federally and state. The money is there. The benefits are there. SNAP benefits. Now, we all know SNAP benefits decreased substantially on March 1st, and that was part of the huge, that was part of the huge increase, was because the feds made a decision to remove that emergency COVID dollars And folks who were getting several $100s a month in food assistance are now they're still currently receiving less than $100 a month. But we also know there's folks who are not filling out those applications. Some of the applications are overwhelming. Some of the applications are clunky. There's some programs in America right now that are only available to be filled out online.
Okay.
We have a broadband issue in this community.
Yeah,
so we want to come alongside if somebody needs help filling out an application, somebody doesn't even know where to turn, because the other thing we're seeing is we have several people in this community, several households, and I'm going to, my heart is always towards our senior citizens because they have worked their whole life, they've lived here, and now they're faced with a situation where they can no longer afford to live in their home. And so they're exploring assistance for the first time in their life. So imagine being 70, 80 years old and needing to navigate this journey of assistance that you've never needed. You don't even know where to turn. And so a lot of times they're turning to the food club, for that help. And again, it's built on relationships.
So, and for clarification, if somebody is on SNAP or WIC, those assistance programs, the Lakeshore Food Club can accept that, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
We can't accept SNAP dollars or WIC dollars in the store.
Okay.
But if you are on SNAP benefits, if you are on WIC, you are an automatic, you qualify for the food club.
Okay. That's
and another important piece of this too, of why I think we have seen this incredible increase, is we work off of 200% of the poverty guidelines.
Okay.
So we have a gap in this country of folks that do not qualify for the state and federal benefits, but yet are still in what we call the ALICE population. And those are the folks that cannot make it through the entire month. They're employed, they're working, but they're working at under a livable wage in our community. And so that's, I think, where we have seen the largest increase. I don't know if I've ever shared this statistic with you, but I think today it's 48% of our membership is working full time.
Oh, really? Okay.
46%, I believe, was my last number yesterday. 46% of our membership is retirees. So people are working. This is not a job situation.
Exactly. And so the stereotype of it's just low income, non-working people, that are just living off the food, that sort of stigma, that's not the case. You have the statistics to back that up. Okay, shifting gears for just a moment. Because I think part of what you've identified is not budgeting for this year based on the increase. That is something that you never can predict, right?
Exactly.
I mean, that's a big part of it. Where does the fix come into play? You've shut down for a couple of days. What does that do? Is my first question, and then what's the next step for the Lakeshore Food Club? And then I'll put a caveat on that, and that is, what do we do as a community is the next step. So if you don't mind addressing the closure, what happens, and then what's the next step for the food club after that?
So the closure was an immediate response. It was a very long decision to make, but an immediate response to, we have 2 large orders coming to Ludington.
Okay.
The first one will come Friday morning. That's why we're actually not opening at 11 o'clock on Friday. We're opening at 1 o'clock on Friday because we want time for that truck to get in, our staff and volunteers to have time to process that order, because it is a huge order. I think we're close to filling a semi.
Okay. Wow.
The other order is coming from Grand Rapids, and I believe, if I remember right, that order is coming. Is today Thursday, Chris? I don't even know. It's Thursday. Yeah. It's coming next Wednesday, a week from yesterday. And we're trying to expedite that order. We're hoping the vendor will work with us. We have a good relationship with that vendor, but transportation is a challenge in America right now. You only have so many truck drivers. You only have so many trucks. So we are calling in all of our favors with our vendors of, can you get us product faster than normal? And hopefully they can adjust some scheduling with us. But once the trucks get here, we can breathe a little bit. This is not going to solve the problem.
Yeah, I think that was my next question, is that you're going to have a spike in people showing up tomorrow and into next week. Will this repeat potentially?
I think what it does is I'm not sure if repeat is the right word, other than this is truly our new normal. Okay. These numbers are what we now have to plan with. Okay. So rather than planning for, 92 households, and, 92 to 120 doesn't seem like a big, gap. But when you're talking, just for example, I will throw out just some data for my data geeks that are listening with me. In the month of July, we had 2,000 transactions go through our cash register. Wow. I'm going to blow your mind a little bit more. We had 35,000, actually a little more. It was 35,000 and some change. 35,000 food items went out our door. That's a lot of food. Well, a lot of food.
Yeah, I mean that says that you're doing and you're serving the purpose that you've set out on, and that is helping the community in not only just small ways like the Ludington the care boxes and stuff like that. That helps on a daily basis, but you're helping everybody every week, every day, in this goal. I guess let me ask, and you kind of hinted on this this morning. And by the way, if you're just joining us, we're talking with O'Nelia from the Lakeshore Food Club this morning, executive director there. They closed until Friday at 1 o'clock, right? Tomorrow until 1 o'clock. Just kind of giving that breathing room to get additional food on the shelves. So your team is going to be stocking tomorrow morning pretty aggressively to get ready for the doors to open. May I ask the elephant in the room question, which is, and again, I said a moment ago, you hinted on this, but is the Lakeshore Food Club stable for the future?
Oh, goodness, that's a good question. If we never received a donation after this moment, no. We are not stable for the future. We live in an amazing community. We have a host of donors who give to us faithfully every single month. We have some partners in this community, corporate partners in this community that are ensuring that we have what we need. But, my role at the food club, as the executive director, is I'm the sole fundraiser of the food club. Now, I have a host of team members. I've got my board, and, I've got folks who are helping me with that. And so that I've had to kick that into gear more because what I had planned on is not meeting the need. So, our budget next year will probably be, somewhere close to $1 million. Okay. And I have to raise $1 million in this community. Yeah. So we are,
and it's a very supportive community. So $1 million is doable. I do believe, but it's a fight every day to to continue to get closer to that mark. What's the budget this year, if you don't mind sharing?
Well, the budget we set was $640. We will come. If we stay on the track that we're on currently, we will be well over $700,000 by the end of the year. Okay. I am pretty confident with that. Just in the amount of the food budget alone is gone up that much.
But you have to look at it, and I'm sure you do, is that you're providing $700,000 worth of food to people that could not afford it. That's a lot of shopping trips. That's a lot of food on the table. That's a lot of food stocking the pantries and keeping people alive here in the community. And I think that says a lot for the Lakeshore Food Club.
I didn't plan on sharing this on the air, but you just reminded me of something that I walked into my office, I believe it was 2 weeks ago. I walked into my office and there was a thank you note on my conference room table that's in my office. And it had gone through the staff and volunteers the day before, and I was out and about with meetings and had not seen it yet. And when I got there that morning, I was reading it and, I just burst into tears because it was from a gentleman, one of our members, who wanted us to know without us, he would have no food in his house. And that was the simple fact of, we have folks in this community that we know what's happened with housing. We have a transportation challenge in the community. We talked about broadband, I think, a few seconds ago of, some of the things, telehealth and ordering groceries online. Well, if you're not connected, you can't do those things. we have a cost of living. The median income right now, the median household income in Mason County is $55,000 and some change. I mentioned we operate on 200% of the poverty guidelines. A family of 4 at 200% of the poverty guidelines is $60,000. And that's a survival budget. That keeps your roof over your head. That allows you to pay your bills. That allows you to drive a car. That allows you to shop for groceries. So if we can, by our members being a member of the food club and the extremely low membership fee of $10 to $16, depending on household size, if we can give some buffer in that budget, we can keep people in their homes. We can allow people to put gas in the car to get to work so they don't lose their job and then lose their, in this domino effect.
Yeah.
So I like to think of the food club as a catalyst. We are not the silver bullet, but we're a catalyst of really working together so folks can not just survive, because survive is exhausting. If you only have enough to just get through this month, you start next month absolutely exhausted.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And so to create a community where folks are thriving, that is our hope, that's our prayer, is that we can be that catalyst of when you walk through the food club, and we're met with tears all the time by our volunteers. Our volunteers, because of our members sharing their story. I walk into the office and I'm over here an intake being done with a new member, and I cannot count in the last month how many times those intakes are done in tears because that family member or that mom or dad or grandparent is sitting there in tears, so thankful that we have a service like this, that this community has. This is a community service.
Yeah, and you're serving it, and it's unfortunate I call it a hiccup, but it's of not being able to keep the doors open for these couple days, and it's nobody's fault. It's other than taking time to get trucking to from door to door, but to be able to say, okay, we need a pause, and it sounds like, and I hope that the members that you serve are supportive of everything that you're doing with
Always.
this pause. Have you heard any reaction to that, if you don't mind?
Only positive.
Okay.
Only positive. If there's something out there in Facebook land that I haven't read, I don't know about it. Please don't send it to me.
No, that's true.
I need to have a good day today. But no, what I'm reading, some of the comments, a lot of our members are part of a Luddington Cares. A lot of our members are part of our own Facebook group. And a lot of thank yous. A lot of thank yous. I was reading a comment early this morning while I was drinking coffee, and a woman brought me to tears because, she is a retiree. She retired from the community, and she publicly said, I'm a member. And she's urging her network to give, if they're able to give to us so we can readjust. We can go back and sit down and, put pen to paper of what does this new normal look like and what is this really going to cost us?
Let's talk about, and I appreciate, I know you got to go in a few minutes, but let's I'll just throw you out some quick questions here. And if you're just joining us, we're talking with O'Neil, Executive Director, Lakeshore Food Club this morning. Based on you got your sponsors, your financial supporters, right? That come in. You have the next element, which I would assume is people donating from the community, right? It's really two of those, right? You've got your financial supporters, and you've got donations from the community. What percentage is that? Do you mind me asking roughly? Are we? And the result of that question is more of, are we doing enough from the community standpoint to support that second area?
So help me understand your question. Are you asking?
So financial support percentage versus community support percentage, because you get food donations, right, from the community.
Oh, our financial supporters far exceed. We have to purchase about 90% of our food.
Okay, all right.
And here's the other thing that I do want to stress is for the community to go out, we live in a community. We don't have a lot of options. We have 2 big box stores, a small, an Aldi. We have limited resources here, and we're thankful. We get to live in paradise, but we have limited resources here. For the community to go out and do a major shopping spree to fill our store, they're going to be taking product off of the shelf. So now when you and I walk in, we're not going to have product. It's kind of the double-edged sword. So can the community solely support the food club operation on donations of, bringing food into us?
Not at 10%, no.
No.
Okay.
However, things like, fun drives. We're doing a cereal drive right now. We started it, I believe, on August 1st, if I remember right. And a dear friend of both you and I, Chris, Aaron Doan, put out a challenge amongst his customers and his network of bring the cereal to Aaron Doan. Well, we played off of that and said, okay, there's a corporate challenge going on. Who can help? Quickway was immediately responded and said, challenge accepted.
That's great.
So things like that. We're, hoping to bring in the month of August, we're hoping to bring in 1,000 boxes of cereal. And the reason we came up with 1,000 is because we are currently going through 1,000 boxes of cereal a month.
That's incredible.
So, yes. So do we need food donations? Absolutely. I think everybody in this community who's a gardener is probably swimming in zucchini right now. We will take your zucchini. We're probably a few weeks away if we get some nice hot weather. We're probably a couple weeks away from, when tomatoes come on, they snap and you have more tomatoes than you know what to do with. Bring them to us. Okay. If you have excess produce from your garden, we will take it. The community garden behind the You Dig It community garden behind the United Methodist Church is a wonderful supporter of ours. I believe we're up to 18 or 19 beds that are sponsored for us.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's great.
So things like that. But if you're grocery shopping and, you want to pick up an extra bags of groceries that's equivalent to your family, bring it in. We absolutely will put it to good use.
All right. And then you and I were talking about canned goods. Is there a major need for that as well?
Yes. We're having a hard time right now keeping canned goods. Our mission is fresh, healthy foods. And our number one item that is sold in the store consistently across the board is fresh, canned, and frozen vegetables and fruit. Okay. Which is good. We want to really drive that fresh, healthy, because we also want to be a partner in helping folks combat chronic disease. So we have some responsibility on the health side of things too. And so canned goods, in fact, that was the first thing I noticed when I walked in the other night, after that incredible rush of folks that we served, was we did not, and I am not exaggerating when I say this, we did not have a single can of vegetables in our store or in our warehouse, which is what caused for the pause. Okay. So you and I were talking before we went on air of a challenge we have a challenge for 1,000 boxes of cereal, and I am hoping that we can have a challenge also of 1,000 cans of fruits and vegetables.
I think we could do that. That would be exciting to challenge the listeners and that time frame. What's that goal then? If we were to put a challenge out there for the listeners to come up with 1,000 cans, and they could even drop it right off here. We could fill our lobby as an option here. But you're going through 1,000 cans. How frequently though?
Oh wow, that would last us approximately 8-9 days.
Okay, wow. So there's a major effort that needs to be put on here. So why don't we do that? We'll take that challenge from the listeners of 102.7 WMOM and Hot Country Hits 99.9, and we'll just ask our listeners to drop cans off here at the station. We'll continue to transport them over to the Lakeshore Food Club. But what cans specifically? Because sometimes we want to donate, but we donate the wrong items sometimes too, right?
So I want to send a loud and clear message. Please do not donate expired food.
Okay.
Please do not donate expired food. We are inspected. We are considered a food retailer. Okay. So we are inspected. We're under some scrutiny of the state. And also to even go beyond this, we don't do it because we're under some scrutiny of our licensure, but we provide dignified service. dignified service. So if it is not something that you're going to walk into a grocery store and purchase and feed your family, please do not bring it to us.
That's a good point.
And so non-expired food has to have original, and this one I get dinged on, it has to have original manufacturer labels on it.
Okay.
So it has to have a label on it, non-expired, in date, and cans that are crushed, bulging, please, do something else with those.
Okay.
We cannot use those either.
Well, just like when we're shopping, if we see something majorly dented and stuff like that, we kind of pass by it. I think there's kind of a pride in shopping in any sort of atmosphere. Is there's food in there and such, but we want to try to get that next one over, right? Fruits and vegetables,
Yes.
right? Okay, fruits and vegetables. All right, so we'll start that today. We'll challenge the listeners to raise 1,000 cans. We'll fill the lobby here at the radio station, and let's do it. You can drop it off anytime between 6 a.m. and 3 p.m. Monday through Friday, and even we'll kind of deploy our team if we can come out and pick up bags or boxes from your home. If you're in the Ludington, greater Ludington area, maybe we can do that too. So. Let's make that happen across the listening area, and I know it's only scratching the surface because obviously 8 days is not a long period of time, but it sounds like if you can get a little bit more foundation there, it'll give you some breathing room in your orders, in your forecasting as well, right?
Absolutely.
All right, O'Neill, we appreciate you for all that you do and for coming in and chatting with us. We'll get the information out on our social media channels and as well on the air here. And for everybody out there that is a member of the food club, again, opening up at 1 p.m. tomorrow. And then are you closed on the weekends or open on the weekends?
We're open on Saturday.
Okay.
So we're open 6 days a week, Monday through Friday currently. Monday through Friday, 11 to 5. And then Saturday, we're open 10 to noon. And we actually, another huge need is we're listening to our members and we're realizing we need to adjust our hours for our working members. And so we're exploring over the next few months to be able to expand our hours. You will get a press release for that as well.
That'll be exciting to do that.
Yes.
And again, serving the community in the right ways, and so we appreciate you doing that. And then if the community has more interest in helping out, they can always reach out to you through your website, through your social media channels, phone, and even on occasion stopping in. I know you're busy at the club, but somebody coming through the door and saying, hey, I want to financially help or I want to do something, they can do that too, right?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. Through our website. And we haven't talked about our volunteers this morning, but I say that our volunteers are the engine that make the ship go. And so we have about 50 to 60 committed volunteers that are with us. We have 2-hour shifts. We have recently, I think in the last month or so, did a call out for volunteers. And so if you've got 2 hours to spare and you can, scan a barcode, you can work our register, stock shelves, bag groceries, just have a smile on your face to welcome our volunteers. We would love to have you join our team.
All right, and they can do that, and I think that helps us, kind of gives us that little boost of energy too, right?
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes.
All right. Well, we appreciate you coming in today. Let's follow up with this. If there's anything else that we can do for you, let us know. Okay.
Thanks, Chris. You are a true friend. We appreciate it.
Not a problem. Glad to always support, and the listener family certainly will as well. It is just after 8 o'clock, 8:25 now. I know you got to get out the door. You have a meeting to go to, so we'll send the stations back to some music. We've got Lori from West Michigan CMH coming up in just a few minutes here, talking about some of their services that are offered. So stick around for that. It's right here on 102.7 WMOM.
Thanks for making us number one. I'm proud to be awarded the Small Business of the Year by the Ludington and Scottville Chamber of Commerce. Your hit music is on 102.7 WMOM. Pentwater, Ludington, Scottville, and all of West Michigan.